Hi, this is Casey Hendrickson, and you're listening to my podcast from my radio show heard on 95.3 MNC. Don't forget to follow me online on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and Snapchat at Casey the Host. You can also find me on Instagram at ASD Knives. Thanks for listening. Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number, 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595953. All right, so I'm torn on what to talk about first. So, do I talk about the Covington kids first? Or do I talk about Notre Dame erasing Christopher Columbus from campus? Like, which... It's like, I don't know which one to do. Do I go with the big story over the weekend? Or do I go with the story that I'm going to be on Lars Larson talking about today? Which one do I go with? Because they're both huge. They're both massive stories. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with Covington, and then I'm going to go to Notre Dame, and then I'm going to circle back around to the Mueller thing. So we're going to have kind of a staggered theme of fakeness this whole show. Okay. Now, there's no live stream today. I'm sorry. I forgot my power cable at home. I was rushing out of the house and I left the power cable plugged into the wall. All right. So I wake up late on Sunday. I'm sick, and which started happening on Friday. It hit me. So I wake up late on Sunday. I come out. I think it's like, 15 after 10, something like that. Really late for me. And I sit down, and I see the picture. Right? So first thing I see the picture of this kid and this Native American guy. And I'm like, I know that Native American guy. Like, I know him. And I was like, he's a liar. So automatically, I'm like, this guy, this Nathan Phillips dude, he is an Occupy activist, which automatically destroys any credibility that he has. And this guy has repeatedly made false claims against people harassing him. So when I see this, I'm going, wait a minute, hold on a second. How is it that I know who this guy is and nobody else in the press does? Right? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me explain. If you have Casey Hendrickson, Adam Baldwin, and Joey Salads doing a better job of covering a news story than all of your collective media outlets, there is a problem with the press corps. Can I say that? Joey Salads. You know what Joey Salads does? You know who Joey Salads is? Joey Salads does pranks on YouTube. Okay? He's the guy that runs around and destroys supercars in front of people to get their reactions. He's basically YouTube's candid camera. That's who the guy is. And he did a better job covering this story than everybody else in local media here and all of the alphabet networks in the country and even on cable. Joey flipping Salads. Funny videos, though. You should check out his channel. It's really good. So I'm going. Actually, at one point, I had to post about it. I actually had to post and said, wow, no disrespect. Please don't misunderstand me. But if Joey Salads is out reporting you, I mean, you might want to reevaluate your careers here. But that's what was happening. So I wake up about 10:15. I'm getting my cup of coffee. I know who this Nathan Phillips dude is. Immediately skeptical of the scenario. And of course, the scenario, for those of you who do not know, the scenario was a bunch of white Catholic kids surrounded a Native American guy and harassed him and said, build a wall. All right. Now, I've done this job long enough to know that 95% of the time, that narrative is untrue. 3% of the time, it's spin. And then 2% of the time, there might be an iota of truth to it. Now, you would think that everybody else, and I heard Rush talking about this today, and I have to agree with him. when Rush says everybody on the right knows that they do this all the time, why would you fall for it? Exactly. We have spent the past 3-4 years, because this predates the campaign, this predates Trump launching his inauguration. For the past 3 or 4 years, we have dealt with a plethora, an epidemic, if you know what, it's a pandemic of fake hate stories, false accusations of sexual assault and rape, false accusations of discrimination. We have dealt with so much of it outside of politics. I'm not even including the political campaigns that make these false accusations. I'm just talking about in general as a society. We have dealt with so much of this, and the immediate, visceral, overreaction, snap judgments that happen on social media as a result of one dingus somewhere posting one little thing on one social media account. And nearly every single time, it ends up not being true. And yet here we are, years later, still automatically believing that initial post with a snap judgment and attacking people. And we know it's likely untrue. And yet we keep doing it over and over and over again. Now, it's already unforgivable if we're talking about just you. Average person out there enjoying their life. It's already inexcusable, okay? Because you should still know better. When you are a member of the press, the only conclusion that you can draw is that you were intending to steer a narrative and you didn't care if it was true or not. Because there is no way that you can run around and say the things that were said about these kids with no information and no data whatsoever about their behavior over the weekend unless you were intending to smear them for some other reason. And that's exactly what happened. So I wake up at 10:15, story's already buzzing by then. Wake up at 10:15, have my coffee. By 11 o'clock, the entire thing had already been debunked. And by 6:30, I'm still dealing with people on social media saying that the kids were wrong. Now today, I'm happy to report that a ton of blue checkmark so-called journalists are taking down their tweets on the right and the left, by the way. It's almost like there's people on the political right that are just like, okay, this one's so bad, I have to jump on this so people don't think that I'm mean. What do you care if people think you're mean? I got called a white supremacist the other day. I buried my black gay friend a couple of weeks ago. He and I used to joke about this stuff and laugh about it, but he used to offer to come on and educate people about me. It's like, it's not your job, dude. You're my friend. You're not a notch on my post or my wall or anything like that. But this is what happens. So, because of who I am, because I do the job that I do, automatically portrayed as something. In spite of the fact that there's no evidence that corroborates that allegation against me. Zero. But it doesn't matter because people want to believe it. And they wanted to believe that these kids were bigots, in spite of the fact they were the victims. We'll talk about that coming up on Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Somebody sent me a text that says, dude, my hardline liberal cousin blocked me on Facebook because I presented links debunking her. See, here's the thing. We all have confirmation bias, and we're all tribalists to an extent, okay? Everybody. We've got things that we just believe and don't want to believe otherwise. What makes somebody, for lack of a better term, a higher thinker, is somebody who is presented with evidence and will look at it and go, okay, at least I got to take a look at this and reevaluate. And then if they reevaluate and they come back to their same conclusion and they have a reason for that, you can have a mature and honest intellectual discussion about that. When you give them video evidence of what them saying not being true and they continue to say it's true, there's not much you can do with somebody like that. That is not a person who is, one, honest, two, willing to be honest. And, we used to frown upon those people as a society. Now we prop them up and give them jobs and say that they are, their integrity is beyond reproach. And we give them news programs and columns and things of that nature, which is ridiculous. It's stupid. Somebody did call and say that Yahoo is now culling all of their articles on the situation with the Covington kids. So about 11 o'clock yesterday, the whole thing was already debunked. And it was debunked because the original video, I think it was about 3 minutes, and then that got whittled down to about a minute and 30. And this minute and 30 second clip shows the Native American Nathan Phillips in the kid's face and drumming. And the kid looking straight ahead and grinning because, well, he's got a man in his face drumming, and he's like, what is going on? And he says nothing. He makes no movement. He doesn't push the guy out of his way. He just sits there. Now, as many people have pointed out, somebody gets that close to your space, in many states, you're allowed to assault them. It's defense at that point. When somebody's that close in your face, they're the provocateur. Not in all states, depends on your state. And so this kid didn't do anything. Oh, but he had a red Make America Great Again hat on. Oh, he must be a racist, right? A smug kid in the face of a Native American war chief hero guy who is a Vietnam veteran, but may not be a Vietnam veteran because his timeline doesn't match. But I digress. Then you see the 2 hours of video footage that is released by the Black Hebrew Israelites. Now, who are they? They're a radical group. The mother of one of these kids falsely called them a Muslim group. They are not a Muslim group, but they are a radical group who believes that they are the descendants of Israelites. And they're racists. They hate white people. They also had some really unkind things to say to the Native Americans during the Native American rally, which happened around the same time as the March for Life rally, which is what this is all based around. So all day, they were harassing Native Americans and saying disparaging things about Native Americans. Did the media cover that? No. Now, the media covered these white students, and they're not all white, by the way, but the media covered these white students as disparaging Native Americans. And as proof, they put up a video clip which shows exactly none of the students disparaging Native Americans. But it must have happened around that event, right? Okay. Now, if you're the media and you're going to go out there and say they were surrounding this Native American guy who's minding his own business, chanting, build the wall, isn't that the clip you run with? Or do you run with the one where the guy's in a kid's face? Because if you're the press, you're probably going to pick the clip that supports your narrative and is the most impactful, right? Except they didn't, which should have automatically been a red flag that this was not accurate. So what we ended up finding out is not only were the Black Hebrew Israelites assaulting verbally Native Americans all day, but then they started screaming racial epithets at the students. Now, what were the students doing? The students were by the Lincoln Memorial waiting for their bus to take them back home. The March for Life was over. They were there for that, as they do every single year. They are a Catholic high school, after all, and they were on their way home. This particular school is known for their raucous cheering section. And so they were doing some cheers to pass the time. Okay, this is actually what the school's known for. Some of the students said that. I looked it up. It's true. They are. They're known for this. So that's how they hype themselves up. And that's what they were doing. Now, when you look at the video from the Black Hebrew Israelites, not the Covington kids, they're calling them crackers. They're making incest references, calling them racists, a bunch of other names. The Native American guy called them beasts. Oh, yeah. Oh, the press didn't tell you that? Oh. I would love to play you some of the audio. The problem is that some of the language surrounding this stuff makes it a little difficult to chop it all up. But there's 2 hours of footage for you to go watch, folks. I did post some clips with timestamps on my Facebook page at facebook.com/Casey the host if you want to go watch them from yesterday. So for an hour, these kids were being called dirty bleeping crackers by the Black Hebrew Israelites. Not once did they ever get aggressive. Not once did they ever get violent. In fact, they would repeatedly look at them and go, "That's racist. What are you doing?" Rebuffing racial epithets. And then at one point, one of the black students, because yes, there's black students there too. One of the black students comes up and he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And at that point, they called him the N-word several times and told him to leave. The Black Hebrew Israelites did, by the way. And then they told him, when you're old enough, these people, meaning the white kids, are going to steal your organs. That is a quote, ladies and gentlemen. Did the media cover that and present that to everybody? That these kids were sitting there minding their own business with chaperones waiting to be picked up by buses to take them back home. Did the media tell you that they had endured over an hour's worth of racial epithets hurled their way against both white and black students? No. Why not? Oh, the people yelling the epithets weren't the right colored skin, right? So then comes this Native American guy pounding on his drum. And he's beating his drum to the rhythm of their cheers that they're doing for their school cheers, right? And he pushes students aside, he pushes his way to the center of these students. They don't surround him, they're minding their own business. He comes over to them. Now, he said he did that. After he changed his story from "they surrounded me," he said that he did that because there was tension between them and the black guys that were standing there, and these kids were being disrespectful to the black guys, and therefore he was trying to defuse the situation by banging his drum and getting in the face of one of the white students. Only if you watch the previous hour footage, you see that it wasn't the kids antagonizing the black guys at all, but in fact, it was the Black Hebrew Israelites who were antagonizing them. So his narrative fell apart really quick. By the way, every news channel that Nathan Phillips, the Native American drummer, went to, he changed his story. And so you see the kids being respectful. At one point when the kids were chanting with the drum, because he beat the drum to their school chants, you could hear some of the kids going, "I don't know what's going on. This is awesome." They thought he was there for their benefit. And in fact, a representative from the Seminoles and the Pawnee said that the kids were not being aggressive at all. The kids were singing with Native Americans. Isn't that interesting? Did the press tell you any of that? No, they didn't. It was all a lie. It was all a fabrication. And luckily today, thank God, many media outlets, many blue checkmark so-called journalists, and many celebrities are actually taking down their tweets and apologizing. But the vast majority of them are not, and they are doubling down. And these kids did absolutely nothing wrong. Hi, this is Casey Hendrickson, and you're listening to my podcast from my radio show heard on 95.3 MNC. Don't forget to follow me online on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and Snapchat at Casey the Host. You can also find me on Instagram at ASD Knives. Thanks for listening.